video on well, tips on how to start winging. Been doing this for a couple of months now, really enjoying it, and yeah, some reasonable success. Didn't really want to go and buy a board and various other bits of kit because I wasn't sure if I was going to like it or even get on with it. So the first thing that I managed to get hold of was the wing. I went for the Duotone Echo. Not really because I wanted a Duotone Echo, it was all that was available at the time. During lockdown there was just not a lot of stock of anything really. I originally wanted the Nash, but I went for this, and I'm very pleased with it. I'm not going to go into, you know, bar over handles and all that sort of stuff. At the end of the day, they're a wing, they work, it's what you prefer. I use the Duotones now, and I do like the bar. I can't comment on a handled kite or wing because I've not used one, but in the day that's what I've got. So I've got the 6 meter, which works really well for what I want it to do. The other thing is I didn't really want to go down the route of a board, so I decided to use my my Wind-foil board and my long-suffering Nash Hover 142, which, as you can see here, is very battered. It's 142 litres. It's a nice board. It does really well for the wing foiling, for wind foiling. But I thought, well, why not? Let's give it a go. It should work, and it has actually worked quite well. Okay, so basically what you can see is I have actually taken the foot straps off it. I originally kept the back foot straps on, and they just get in the way. And to be quite honest, it's really easy to put them on and off. What I have done to help myself is I've put a strap which I put on to where one of the foot plugs is. I normally carry a screwdriver with me. I can take that off and I can move it back here. You can see you get quite a long walk here, so I'm going to try and make things easy. So I've put this this handle, so it just goes in there like so, and what I can do, put it in the crook of my elbow, and then I grab. It's actually really easy to walk. Because the walk is worth it for really flat, shallow water. What I've also done is I've put a permanent leash attachment to the board, because you do need a leash with your board. It can float off very quickly, especially if you've got a wing in deep water, you'll never catch it. And obviously there's no mast foot. What I've got is an area obviously here which has got no pads on it, and obviously all of this area here. Now this tends to be where I stand. It's alright, it's got plenty of grip, which is fine, but it would be nice if I was on here, but unfortunately that's just the way the board is and where it's set up. What the grip does do, unfortunately, as you can see here, this is where I kneel. So when I get on the board I kneel here, and it just wears through your wetsuit really quickly, so I'm probably going to have to look to get some kind of padding, put it on here. The board's pretty beat up now, so I'm just going to do what I do with it. But for a beginner's wing foiling board, yeah, it works really well. It's good volume, so you can stand up nice and easy. Because it's so flat and straight, it gets going really fast. But once you're up and you are getting a little bit better, you do notice that it is actually quite long. But you know what, you're up and going, which is better than having, you know, a really short board, which is fantastic, and not going. What you will also see is that the mast track for the foil is absolutely as far forward as it will go. In fact, even slightly further forward, because I've got it in the rearmost of the screw holes. And even with that, you're still standing much more in front of the foot strap. So obviously my back foot would normally be there and my front foot would normally be there, but my back foot's here and my front foot's here. Okay, so you can see here I've put an attachment for a leash into one of the foot plugs, and that just stays on all the time now, even when I put my foot straps back on for wind foiling. And obviously then there's a leash there. I've gone for a curly leash. It's certainly much better than a straight leash. I found the straight leash just constantly wants to go and wrap itself around the foil, which is a complete pain. So the curly leash is probably a better one for that. A decent leash, not a huge amount of strain on it, but I'd get a decent one. What I've also done is I've made myself a waist belt, because I just didn't want too many more things on my legs and stuff like that. Again, if your feet are down here and you've got a leash on it, it's going to just want to wrap around the foil. So I made myself a belt leash. It's just a long piece of Velcro on webbing with a big loop, and then basically like so, just keeps it out the way. A lot of strain goes around your waist rather than onto your leg, which is all cool. Yeah, it's an easy one to do. You can buy them, but again, at the time there wasn't anything that I could find, so I just made one. Okay, so basically I've got my Infinity 99. I am now using it with the 48 rear stabilizer. I've only just started using it. Yeah, I'm still getting used to it. It's nice. It does seem to give me a little bit more lift. Not really sure if it's any better for pumping. What it does seem to do is make the board a little bit more hard to turn. It just seems to want to go in a straight line, which again, that might just be me, but it definitely feels different. Not quite sure if it's easier to pump, but yeah, it's all cool. Also started out using the 15-inch mast. As you can see, it's not particularly long. The beauty of it is that I can get out in shallower water, which is generally flatter, but also obviously breaches, you don't crash so much. Yeah, just a little bit more control really. So I'd definitely recommend one of these, unless you're in super deep water with lots of wind and you've got lots of waves. But yeah, I'm really pleased with that. Okay, so a couple of people have asked about setup, and it's all about this. It's all about this front wing, and it's controlling this front wing. Now, if you look at where my front wing is, and where if you was to imagine that the center of the lift is probably about here, it's about 2/3 of the way from the back or 1/3 from the front. So all of your weight is balancing on here, and you're looking to try and change the angle of the foil, and this is your pivot point. Now that pivot point on this board is about here. So if you come up to the top of the board, you can see here. Now that doesn't make sense to me for wind foiling, because I would say that your back foot needs to be there and your front foot needs to be there. As it is for this, it's actually my back foot's here and my front foot's here, so it's a lot further forward. So basically, if your board is constantly jumping up, if it's jumping up and stalling, it's because your back foot's too far back. You're putting way too much pressure on the back. The board lifts up, it stalls, and then it falls. If the board will not lift at all, and it feels like it's just, you know, you've got lots of speed and it's just not lifting, it's more than likely that your back foot is too far forward. It could also be that your front foot is too far forward. So you want to be able to move your feet about to get the feeling of where you are. Now on this one, like I said, it doesn't really make sense, because I would normally say that you need your feet either side of the balance point, and the balance point on this one is here, and my back foot is here. Now that could be because I'm so used to wind foiling, and because there's a mast on the front with a sail, you need a lot more back foot pressure, and everything needs to be moved. But for this one here, it is just a case of, you know, trial and error. If you've got a board that's got a fixed tuttle box, you can't move it around, but what you can do is move yourself. So if the board is constantly jumping up and stalling, then your back foot is too far back. You need to bring it forward. And obviously the same with your front foot. If your front foot's way too far forward, the board is not going to lift if you bring it too far back. But you generally find if it's a long way back, it's going to probably because also your back foot's too far back. You want a reasonably wide stance, you want to be shoulder width. If you've got your front foot all the way back and your back foot's here, then it's going to be too narrow. So it's a lot of it's actually about your back foot, where that is. And like I said, if the board won't lift, take your back foot back slightly. If the board is literally jumping out of the water and it's stalling, then you need to bring your back foot forward. Okay, so here we are, 6 meter Echo, Nash 142, probably about 16-17 miles an hour. So climb on, use the rail of the board with the handle to support yourself. So if you see now, if I lean against the wing, board's right over, it should be off by now, but because the wing won't sink, gives me a bit of stability. Put the wing behind you as best you can, turn yourself slightly upwind, and then in one smooth movement, wing above your head. So, wing above you, wing behind you. Start heading upwind. Bit of power. Start moving yourself on the board. Get your back leg sort of 90 degrees to the board. Front leg 45. A little bit of power, front foot. A little bit of power, back foot. Steady yourself, get into your position. Right, look for your wind. Plenty today, so not an issue. Bear off. Now start to pump. Big scoops. Pull and push that through the back foot. Then steady yourself. Find your balance point, find where you need to put your feet. And then build your speed nice and smoothly. Build your speed nice and smoothly. Now the nose keeps hitting the water, so back foot's coming back probably an inch, back foot comes back maybe an inch. Let's smoothed it out. Right, so here we go, pumping through the back foot, lift the front foot, pretty quick that time. Find your positioning, there you go. Wind goes super light because plenty of wind, and there's not a lot of not going upwind particularly hard. So I'm on a reach at the moment, and it's really smooth, really smooth. It's quite choppy still, and I'm only on a 15-inch mast, so I keep touching down every now and again. You can see it's rock solid, absolutely rock solid. See, if you start going faster, you get more lift, more speed across the foil, then foot positioning will become critical. If you you know, too far back, I want to lift really quickly. But this is really nice. That's super smooth, super quiet. So if I want to go upwind, gently turn it in, upwind. Got a sheet in now. Feel the power in the backhand. And then bear downwind, open the wing, feather it. Not so much backhand. Starts to get windy, put the wing above you. Just hang off it. Bring it back down again. It's like a windsurf sail, it goes faster, more power. Right, let's try for a turn. Little foot movement. Just basically just sail downwind, keep the speed up. Well, sort of round. There you go. Wing is stalled because it's downwind. So, put the board downwind slightly, feel the power, start the pump through, go back through it, lift with the front, push with the back, lift with the front. Once the foil bites, steady yourself. So shallow water, got my short mast on, got the big 48 centimetre rear wing, got my hover and my Infinity 99 6 metre Echo, very windy, so should be able to beach start, should be easy to get going. Bring it close to your body, slightly upwind. Well, there we go. So, steady. Little bit of wind in the wing. Bear off slightly. Start the pump. There we go, plenty of wind, so don't really even have to pump. There we go. Super lovely, super smooth. Be quiet. So it's very windy. Wing above my head. Little bit of forward motion just by bringing it down slightly, then back into the overhead position when it gets too windy, which is quite nice. Plenty of speed in the board. Lovely, look at that. Feathering the wing, hardly any pull in it at all, just don't need it. Top up the power every now and again, a little bit of speed, head upwind slightly, so look upwind, a little bit of backhand pressure and then downwind. So you can see, nice and smooth, look upwind, head towards the buoy. Backhand pressure, bear off again.